right, we are going to take a look at division today. So what I would like you to do is to please pause your video right now, and I want you to go ahead and put today's date, 11/4, and then write the word division at the top. Once you finish doing that, go ahead and hit replay. All right, now I want you to read this question, and you do not need to copy the question down. It says, Jessica used 168 square feet of carpet to cover the floor of of her bedroom. The length of her room is 12 feet. What is the width? So I look here and I see that the amount of carpet that was needed to cover the floor was 168 square feet. The length is 12, so we're trying to find out the missing width. Can anybody remember when we are finding the inside of a space, what it is that we are finding? If you answered that we are finding that this is also called the area, then you are correct. So we know that 168 is equal to 12 times something. Because if you remember, area equals length times width. So we're looking for this missing number. So mathematically, can you think of what mathematical problem we would do to solve this if we're trying to figure out this missing number? What I would like for you to do is to pause it and see if you can come up with a number sentence in which you would be trying to solve the answer. All right, if you came up with 168 divided by 12 equals question mark, or you could put an X or another letter there as a value, then you are correct. So once again, I would like you to pause the video for a minute, and I want you to think about any strategy that you have learned to help you try to solve this problem. So make sure you pause the video, take 5 minutes or so, and see if you can solve this. You can use your multiplication chart and different things like that. And then when you're ready, go ahead and press play again. All right, so I'm going to move here. And what I will do is talk through some of the different scenarios that my group today did with me and how they came up with it. So I had some people that looked at this problem and they realized that either they know their 12s or they know to use their multiplication chart. And so they looked at 12, and when they got down here, they knew that 12 times 12 was 144. So they wrote, and I'm going to use pencil now, they did 12 times 12 equals 144. And then what they did is they subtracted 168 minus 144. And can you think of why they would have done that? So they did that because they've already found 12 groups of 12. And when they found 12 groups of 12, that got them to 144. So now as we subtract, 8 minus 4 is 4, 6 minus 4 is 2, so we're left with 24 still. So now I need to figure out how many groups of 12 I have in 24. Well, I know that 2 times 12 equals 24. So 24 minus 24 gives me 0, so that means that our answer is 14. So again, see how I used my knowledge of multiplication. You could also think of it as counting by 12s, and the reason that we're counting by 12s is because our divisor is 12. So as I counted by 12s, I got to 144, and then I would keep going until I got as close to 168 as I could. Now, another strategy that I saw used was where people were going and drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 circles. Now, this is absolutely a fine strategy to use. However, what we want to start to do as we are getting older and doing more difficult math is finding strategies that are going to be a little bit easier for me to figure out. Because if I had 952 divided by 87, I don't want to draw 87 circles and then try to divide that number up. But back to our original problem, which once again is 168 divided by 12. So I know I don't want to count by ones to 168 because that's really going to take me forever. So I'm going to think about this, and I know that I can get 10. So if I put 10 in each right now, 20, 30, 40, 50. That's going to get me to 120. So 168 minus 120 leaves me with 48. So now I'm trying to divide 48 up into 12 parts. Well, I happen to know that 48 divided by 12 is equal to 4. So now I'm going to add 4 to each of these, making each of these 14. And instead of me taking the time to do that in every one of the boxes, now I know that 168 divided by 48 is 14. All right, now let me turn the page, and for this, I do want you to write this down. I wonder, did any of you use a strategy that's called partial quotients? Okay, for partial quotients, again, I will use some of the strategies that I saw from my students today. So I have 168 divided by 12. So I had a student who knew that 12 times 10, they started with a 10 right here, would get them to 120. So 10 is an easy number to work with because all I have to do is add a 0. So I'm just making 12 10 times bigger. And we subtract, and I get 48. So maybe right now I'm thinking, oh, I know that 2 times 12 is 24. So I put my 2 right here because I have 2 groups of 12 in 48. I subtract, and I'm left with 24 again. Well, I know that I can divide 24 into 2 more groups. 2 times 12 is 24. I subtract, and I'm left with 0. You want to be left with a number that is less than your divisor. So now I would add these numbers up, and I see 10 plus 2 plus 2 is 14. So up here, I will write 14 as my final answer.